Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Training Industry Learning Tech Showcase, AI and Training, sponsored by Imparta, Litmos, The Regis Company, Skooks, and Sweet Rush. I'm Avery Vo, Events Coordinator at Training Industry, and I'm so happy you could join us. Before we get started, I would like to quickly go over a few housekeeping items to help you interact with our speakers and get the most out of today's program. Throughout today's event, please feel free to use the chat for comments and submit questions in the Q&A panel. All questions will be addressed during the event or at the end of the program during our Q&A section. At the end of the event, you'll receive a short survey that'll open up in another browser, and we'd appreciate your thoughts on today's event. All of our sessions are being recorded and will be archived on trainingindustry.com, and you'll receive a follow-up email from us with a link to view the on-demand sessions. If this is your first Training Industry event, a special welcome goes out to you. Training Industry exists to make connections among learning and development professionals. We offer tons of resources to support your role in L&D through live events like today's showcase, as well as through articles on our website, our magazine, conferences, research reports, and our podcasts. Visit trainingindustry.com to learn more. And now, without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce you to our speakers, Yelina Shulla and Jeremy Bryant. Yelina is a senior solutions consultant with a rich background in enterprise software sales, engineering, focusing on cloud applications and solutions. In her role at Litmos, she engages customers with technical storytelling and art of the possible demos. Jeremy is a senior solutions consultant at Litmos. With a passion for technology, he approaches each progress with meticulous attention, charting the best course of action with the customer's needs at the heart of it. By doing so, he helps each unique customer find the best solution to help them thrive. Jeremy is anchored with a core belief in ethical actions for lasting impact. Jeremy and Yelina, we are very excited to have you here today. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to you.
All right, thank you, Avery, and welcome everyone. I am based out of St. Augustine, Florida. I see we have a lot of people here in the chat from all over the world, it seems like, so welcome. I'm going to start sharing my screen. And before we get into the AI portion of the demo and how Litmos is using AI to make learning easy, I wanted to start with just a quick overall demo of what the experience is like without AI for a learner in Litmos today. So you're seeing here, I'm logged in as a learner, Mark Smith, and this is my learning dashboard. This is all focused on the training that has been assigned to me. So as you can see here in my training, I have my overdue training that's in progress, training that has not started, any favorites that I have selected. All of that is showing on my dashboard. And then I also have my search bar here. And this is where I can access my learning library. So let's say, in addition to this training that has been assigned to me, I'm looking to complete some leadership courses. I can search for that in the search bar, and now this takes me to the learning library. Anything that's a good match based on a course title, description, a content tag is going to be pulled up. And then also as a learner, I have on the right-hand side different ways that I can search for that content, whether it's the content type, topics, subtopics, different language tags, skills, and so forth. So this is a pretty traditional experience. I think we're all familiar with this in one way or another in searching for through a course catalog. So what we're going to be showing you today is what Litmos is doing with AI to make this a lot easier for learners. Before we get into that, Avery, we do have a poll. If you could get that started. We're interested in finding out how do you currently use AI in your learning management system. And while that, we'll keep that up for a minute or so. While that's going on, this morning I was thinking of how could I fill up the time during this call as we're all filling out that poll. So I said, let me go to ChatGPT, right, and look up some AI jokes. So I asked, tell me AI jokes. Nothing good came up, so I apologize. I don't really have any good AI jokes. The best one that I could find, which is not that great, it actually said, "Why did the AI cross the road?" to optimize the chicken's algorithm. Not good at all. So I guess AI is so new. Maybe there's not good jokes out there that have been created yet. So again, as you're filling out that poll, if you have any good AI jokes, feel free to enter that in the chat if you can do a better job than ChatGPT. I think we're ready to close the poll now. And let's see. So, okay, great. So about 71% are not using AI in your LMS today. Awesome. All right, so I'm excited to share what Litmos is doing with AI. So again, you just saw what the experience is, kind of like that traditional way of searching for content. Now you'll notice my AI option here from my navigation menu. And this is where Litmos is using the AI assistant for generative artificial intelligence to understand and respond to your questions about learning materials in your library. So you can interact with the AI assistant to get help with questions and answers, recommendations, summarization, and assignment of courses. So you could simply type your question in the chat window, and the AI assistant will do its best to provide an answer that is relevant to your learning needs. So let's say, I'm looking for some leadership courses, right? So the AI is going to do his thinking and it's going to come back and recommend some courses. Now, a couple of notes here. It's only searching my Litmos instance. It's not going out to the internet. It's not Googling anything from the outside. We're not using open AI. We're not using ChatGPT. This is our own private AI platform. So it's only going to surface learning materials that are in your Litmos instance. Very important. It's also searching content that is already available to the learner in the learning library. So it's searching the same library that I showed you before. It's not going to give me access. It's not going to recommend a course that I wouldn't normally already have access to. Now, once it gives me these, what we call course cards, I can click into any of these. So notice it gives me the course card, a description or a brief summary of that course. If I want to go ahead and start taking this course now, I can click on that course card and it takes me right into the course so I can go ahead and get started. If not, maybe I don't have the time to do it now, but I do want to complete that course later. I could say something like assign the first course to me. And so now the AI assistant is going to ask me if I want to assign it. So I'll say yes. And it's going to assign this inspirational leadership course to me. So if I go back to my dashboard, to that home page, now you can see that that course is here and that not started swim lane, right? So I can go back to it later. Now, if I want to go back and start a new chat conversation, right? So I don't have any further questions here. I'm going to start a new one. Maybe this time, I want to ask about something else. Now, this is a question that I like to ask because I think I have experienced this in the past. I think a lot of us have experienced this, imposter syndrome. This is funny, and this is exactly what I was looking for. So sometimes the AI thinks you're just being conversational, right? Because I'm not asking specifically to recommend courses to me. So again, it's giving me a very kind message. We don't recommend, we're not suggesting that you replace your therapist with our AI assistant, but as you can see here, it's trying to be kind, it's trying to be helpful. Now, sometimes you have to be more direct with your questioning. So because it did not recommend a course, now I'm going to specifically ask if there's any courses that it could recommend to me. And right there, it's recommending an imposter syndrome course from the Litmos content library. So again, a way to summarize the content, to search for content. I can start a new chat and I can ask things like, how can I get better in handling sales objections, right? And it should return content. Now it's going to, in the examples that you're seeing here, it's going to recommend courses from the Litmos training library. So Litmos, we have our own training content. We have over 2,500 courses that we create in-house with our content team. So for the purposes of these demos, these courses that you're seeing here are Litmos courses, but just know that the AI assistant is going to recommend courses in your learning library, whether that's Litmos content, whether is any third-party content that you have uploaded into your LMS and have brought in, or whether it's content that you have created, right? So it's going to be searching all of that content. It's going to be summarizing and recommended content and not just Litmos content. Another question, that I could ask, and again, these are all conversational type of questions. So I say, I want to learn about DEI. What can I do? And it's going to look into that library and see if there's any courses that match that description, what I'm looking for. So again, so far you're seeing courses. I'll give you one more example here, because if you think about what the AI is doing and how it's summarizing courses, I thought that one cool use case would be, what if I already took a course and now I'm just looking for a refresher, right? I'm looking for a summary on that course. I don't want to have to take the whole course again. I just want to be reminded of what I learned. I could say something like, what did I learn in the effective listening course? And the AI is giving me a kind of a reminder, a refresher of what was covered in that course. So I think that's pretty cool use case there. Now, my favorite, everything that we've been seeing so far has been related to courses in your environment. The AI can also read through assets, right? So if you think about any Word documents, PDFs, PowerPoint slides, any type of information that you want to provide your learners with, that it's not necessarily a e-learning course, it's just training material. For example, think of new hires, right? Somebody comes on as they're being onboarded, they're bombarded with so much information, paperwork. They may be handed an employee handbook, some type of policies, procedures, travel and expense policies, all this documentation. And how can we use the AI to help the learner come through all of that? So if I'm looking for something specific, I don't have to read an entire 30-page PDF to find what I'm looking for. So I wanted to do some real life use cases here. So I'm actually traveling to Orlando next week for Litmos business, and I will be renting a car. So we have our travel and expense policy in my demo environment. So I decided to ask, is there a limit on car size for rentals? And as you can see here, it's telling me exactly what is on the policy. So it's telling me I can, rent intermediate car size or equivalent. It's even telling me which car rental providers are preferred, right? So enterprise and national. So it gave me this information without me having to go and read through our travel and expense policy. But very important, it will also always cite the course. So if I wanted to just make sure, if I want to read through that policy, and again, this is not a training course, so it's a PDF, so it's asking me to download it. But because it gives me where it got the information from, I can always double check to make sure the information that it's providing is correct. Here is another example, right? So we're a fully remote company, and we do have some, home office equipment allowance that we can expense to get, whatever it is that we need for our office. So I want to know what that home office equipment allowance is. And it cites the source, and it answers and even tells me what that allowance is in each individual country. Now I can read through that, or maybe I'm just being lazy and I just want to know what is the allowance for the US. I don't want to read through the response. And now it's going to tell me what it is for the US in dollars. Again, it's going to cite that source. So I think that it's powerful to be able to search for the content, to find what I need when we're talking about e-learning content, whether it's Litmos training content, content that you have created, third-party content. But there's also something about that I find very powerful, the being able to to also understand these assets. And there's so much information that employees need to access, especially new hires. So if we can make that easier for them by including that in the LMS, having the AI assistant come through the information, there's a lot of power there. Now, another example that I wanted to give you, and this would be the last example, is for supervisors. So as you saw earlier, I assigned a course to myself, so a learner can assign courses to themselves. Now I have switched, so now I am Jane, and I am a supervisor. So a supervisor can do all of the same things that a learner can do. They can also search for content. So here's an example of where I'm a supervisor, maybe an employee came to me, they're having some tough times, balancing the work life. And so I'm going to search for work-life balance courses, right? The AI is recommending a couple of courses in the library. Now I could say, assign the first course to Mark. And the AI has found multiple users with a potential match. So it's telling me Mark Smith, Mark Bryant. There's also an email address there. So I'm going to select one because that's Mark Smith. And yes, I'm going to confirm. And the AI is going to assign that course to Mark. So again, it's not just for the learners. If I go back here to Mark, now I have that course has been assigned to me. So the AI is helping learners, but it's also helping supervisors, managers, administrators with discovering content and assigning content as well. So we're going to get into the QA session. Right before we do that, we're going to go ahead and we have another poll for you. And this one is going to be, what AI applications would you like to implement in your learning management system? And we'll just give that a minute or so, and we'll see what comes back. I can't see the chat. Did anyone have any good AI jokes? Jeremy, are you seeing anything? I can't, when I'm sharing my screen, everything kind of goes away.
No good jokes, but lots of great questions.
Awesome. Okay, I can't see those either, so I'm gonna rely on you to help me out with those.
Yep.
All right, I think we're good to close the poll. And let's see, the majority, adaptive learning that develops personalized learning experiences. That's a great one. And then the second one, AI assistant to provide curated content and learning recommendations. Awesome. All right. Thank you for doing that. Okay, Jeremy, tell me what's happening in the Q&A.
Yeah, lots of great questions. One I thought we'd take that was asked directly to you, Yelina, is the AI searching solely for the course name and or description or looking into course content?
Great question. So it is looking at the course content, and I'm glad that question came up because as we talked about earlier, this kind of the traditional way of searching for content, how learners are doing it today, if we're using this search bar here and I'm looking for a specific, let's say I'm looking for sales, right? This traditional search is only looking at the title of the course and the description of the course. It's not looking for the content, right? So the AI is, of course, an enhancement to that experience because the AI is actually reading the content of that course, and then it's providing results that are most relevant based on that content. So it is definitely an upgrade to the traditional search.
Great. Okay. Some other questions kind of seems to be the theme on some of them that are coming. Can you share the vision and direction Litmos is going next with our AI?
Yeah, fantastic question. So I actually had a PowerPoint slide here to talk a little bit, give you a sneak peek into what's coming next. So our Chief Product and Technology Officer, he uses the term AI everywhere. And this is a term that if you work here at Litmos, you pretty much hear all the time. AI everywhere. And that's because that's eventually our goal. So our goal is to eventually have our AI assistant everywhere in our LMS. But where we're going next pretty soon here is AI playlist. So as you remember, when I gave you that overall, that quick demo at the beginning of the call, where the learner logs in and they can see those playlists of overdue training, assigned training, not started training on their learner homepage. Soon they're going to be able to create their own playlist. So the learner is going to be able to tell the AI assistant what they're interested in learning, whether that's specific skills or specific topic. And then the AI assistant is going to create a very personalized playlist for that learner that it's always going to be showing on their homepage when they log in. This is a playlist that can always be either refreshed or they can be updated, they can change it as their learning interests change. And then also soon to follow that, learners and administrators are going to be able to share these playlists. So the AI is going to create the playlist, and then you're going to have the option to share with others in your organization so that they can add that playlist as well to their dashboard.
All right. Let me just grab some other questions here. The next one is, again, a theme, right? So content creation using AI has kind of been a buzz topic lately. In what ways is Litmos thinking about improving content creation using AI?
Yeah, that's also a great one. I've been here at Litmos for a couple of years now, and I remember when I first started demoing Litmos, AI and content creation came up every now and then, right? It wasn't, very popular 2 years ago, even 18 months ago. Not a lot of people were asking, but within the last, 6 months or so, and Jeremy can attest to this because we work closely together. So we hear this a lot. Do you have AI in your content creation, or when will you have AI in your content creation? So we understand that this is very popular in the industry right now. So what's coming next is going to be AI in the content creation tool. So Litmos already has an amazing content creation tool. It's a tool that allows you to create very dynamic, very visually appealing e-learning courses in SCORM content. But again, as we think about this AI everywhere and where Litmos is headed, the AI is going to be incorporated into our content author tool. So let's say you want to create a course on communication skills, right? You're going to have the option. You're going to have two options. You can either have the AI assistant use content that's already in your instance, kind of combined information from other communication courses that you may have, and create a brand new course using that information. Or option number two, you could upload, right? So if you have some sort of a PDF document, a Word document, maybe a PowerPoint slide that you started working on, whether you're combining some of this main points and you have created some sort of outline of what you want that course to look like, you can upload that instead, and again have the AI assistant help you with creating that content, from coming up with a course title, a description, creating this page titles and outlines, the different templates using that content author tool. And then of course you can go in and we don't want to take the human element completely out of the equation. So of course you can go in and you can change things, and you can add or remove. So you'll still be able to do that, but now we're just making that easier. Just like we're making that learner experience easier to find the content, we're going to make the administrator experience easier with creating content.
Great answer, Yelina. All right, I think the last one, which is always an important topic, is around security, right? So what measures is Litmos taking and implementing to ensure the security of our customers' data?
Yeah, another great one. So I'm going to bring I know there's a lot of text here. I don't expect you to read through all the text on this slide. I really just want to cover these two points here because this is a big deal to us, security and privacy. So the Litmos AI Assistant operates within the Litmos data center. So there's never any, IP ever that leaves this closed system. The same security and IP protections that we have with our LMS exist for our AI assistant. Your data is completely yours and is never shared outside your instance. Your intellectual property is protected in the same ways that we have always protected our proprietary learning materials that run on the Litmos platform. Each conversation with the AI is unique and is kept private from outside your organization. All the data is properly secured at rest and in transit. The AI assistant is GDPR, SOC 2, and CCPA compliant. Now, even if after all of this, you still have concerns, you still have some hesitations, you still, there might be some content that you have created that you don't feel comfortable with the AI having access to, no problem. So there's consent and control around all of this. So your organization decides which learning materials you want the AI to have access to. For example, I was just talking to a customer last week. They have a tax filing software, and they were concerned because one of the things that they're doing within the LMS is to teach, their employees how the software work, right? So they're concerned with that information, not being secured or other people having access to that. So again, it is secure, but if you're just not comfortable, if there's certain sensitive information in your Litmos instance that you prefer the AI not to have access to, no problem at all. You can give the AI access. You can kind of cherry pick the courses and the training materials that the AI has access to, and then leave those out that may be, more sensitive. Another example to add to this one is, a lot of our customers are using Litmos to do external and internal training. So they're in the same instance, they could be training internal employees, but also, customers and partners. And so you don't want, a customer to have access to, example, an employee handbook, right? Because that's only for internal employees. So just like today, Litmos is able to segment those audiences. The AI assistant, it's only going to read or go through that information that is in that learner's learning library. So if I'm a customer and I'm asking questions about courses or learning materials, it's only going to surface what it is in my customer library. It's not going to go into that, a library for internal employees, right? So again, the main point here is your data is secure and it's private.
All right. I think that's all the questions that I answered. Hopefully that helped everybody. We appreciate the time today.
All right. Well, I'm trying to get to my last slide. Here we go. So thank you everyone for joining us. If you're interested in learning more, scan the QR code to sign up for a free trial. In addition, Training Industry will be sending a recap of today's event where we are including 2 free guides to support you. The first is the L&D Made Easy, your guide to impactful lean L&D. And the second one is the AI Advantage in L&D. Thanks again, everyone.
Thank you, Yelina and Jeremy, so much for your time. This was really, really great, super engaging with all the questions coming through. And so I'm just going to close this out for the day, or I'm sorry, for this session. We have one more session coming up in about 15 minutes. Up next, we have Maggie and Lance joining us from the Regis Company for their session, Unleash Your Training Potential, Harness SimGate's AI-powered skills practice to ignite the learner experience. Again, in a moment, I'll just be ending this session, and you can join our next session by returning to the event lobby and going to the session tab. So we will be starting that in about 15 minutes. And thank you again to our speakers from Litmos. This was really great, and we'll see you all soon.